So you're thinking of moving to South Carolina, right here in Columbia where I am, or anywhere in South Carolina, or are you thinking of moving to North Carolina? Well, you're not alone. Many people can't decide out of the Carolinas which one to go. Well, in this video today, I'm going to help you decide what that is. I'm going to break down all the big differences, the lifestyle, the housing, the cost of living, jobs, taxes, schools. Stick around. I'm going to actually break it down a little more to where the area I'm at, Columbia versus Charlotte, or even Lake Murray versus Lake Norman. Both are within about 15-20 minutes from the big cities of Charlotte and Columbia and what you're doing. So my name's Chad Dorman, your go-to real estate expert here in Columbia, South Carolina. And I get to hear from people just like you every single day, and I love it. And no matter whether you're moving here in 7 days, 70 days, or even within the next year, shoot me a call, text, email. Better yet, get on a Zoom call, which most people do with me, so I can talk to you face to face. That's the way I would love to be able to help you out. Now, everything and the way you get in touch with me, look in that description below, along with other tools and info as well. You can find all that information to get in touch with me, and I'd love to be a part of the process in helping you buy in your dream home. Also, make sure to go ahead and like the videos you like. Tell me more about the information you want to see. Let me know if you like the kind of information I'm giving you. And if it's your first time to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a drop of the real estate insight here in the Carolinas. Now let's dive right into the very first one. Now the first thing we're going to start talking about is housing and the cost of living. South Carolina is hands down cheaper overall. It's got lower median house costs, anywhere from, it could be for the state average, probably more around like 300. Charleston brings it up even more to probably like 300, 350, whereas North Carolina is more around the 400 range. Lower property taxes, lower gas prices, lower utility costs, lower land costs for what you're looking in. Whereas North Carolina has more urban options, such as Raleigh-Durham area, Charlotte. They also come with that higher cost of living and prices, but there's going to be more of that in the jobs and career. Now, you can't talk about this topic without talking about the taxes. And I want to go over this tax chart between North Carolina and South Carolina to give you the difference. It's 3-1 South Carolina, hands down. First one you're talking about is real estate tax. In North Carolina, it's 2.82%. That's the 19th lowest in the U.S. It's not bad. But in South Carolina, it is 1.98%. And that is the 5th lowest in the U.S. Really getting good in that. Now, the one area that North Carolina does beat it is the property tax rate, 0.45%, 32nd lowest in North Carolina, and it jumps all the way up to 0.99% in South Carolina, which is the 48th lowest in the U.S. Income tax rate for North Carolina, it is actually 2.87%, which is the 36th lowest in the U.S. It's 2.29% in South Carolina, which is the 23rd lowest. Sales and excise tax rate is 4.36, which is the 27th lowest in North Carolina, but we take it all the way down to 3.8, which is the 13th lowest in the U.S. for South Carolina. So we win when it comes as far as South Carolina. I say we because, of course, I live in South Carolina. I'm licensed. The one thing I did want to tell you, this is sort of an example of what you're looking at. Retirees, you definitely want to be in South Carolina versus North Carolina. It's a slower living, and we also have more homestead exemptions for seniors, whereas North Carolina does not have much at all when it comes to seniors and stuff. But let's say that you are armed forces, where you have like a VA loan, but you're 100% disability for whatever happened in the war, just in training, whatever it may be. Well, here in South Carolina, you're exempt. You pay on the home that you live in, you pay no property taxes on. On 2 vehicles in the household, you pay no property taxes on. Any land up to 5 acres, you pay no property taxes on. North Carolina, you're only exempt on the first $45,000 of the appraised value of your house. Even military benefits and stuff are a little better here in South Carolina when you're doing what you're doing. That's definitely better. I always tell people South Carolina's a lot more ideal for fixed income and retirees. but it's almost like choosing between a Target and a Walmart. Both are good. North Carolina and South Carolina are good, especially when compared to the national averages, but one saves you more over time, which is definitely South Carolina. Number two, jobs, career growth, and economy. Now, at first glance, it looks like North Carolina has this. They're more urbanized. They have bigger cities, more known for their tech, finance, biotech, and their research hubs. South Carolina is a little slower, strong in manufacturing, tourism, healthcare, military, and logistics. But there is also more coming. Columbia is modeling now. Greenville and Charleston actually have more money than Columbia, but Columbia is following the model of Raleigh and even Charlotte as far as bringing a lot of the tech here too. More jobs. You've got USC. You've got more medical facilities. The University of South Carolina, the medical center coming down, 300 square foot medical center, $300 million. A lot of those. I know some about Charleston, Greenville, Spartanburg, a lot of those other Myrtle Beach. Of course, the wages are higher in North Carolina with housing and cost of living. And when you filter all that in, as far as more wages, but higher housing and cost of living, but you have a bigger tax break in South Carolina, it's almost better to move towards South Carolina in that. Here, where technically you would, most of the time, most people would give the areas of job, economy, growth, they would give it to North Carolina. I'm going to call it a tie just for everything that we have coming. Younger professionals, tech workers, North Carolina. Slower pace, service industry work, retirees, South Carolina. But I'm definitely, for me, I'm giving this one a tie. Lifestyle and outdoor vibe. I'm definitely handing this one to South Carolina. South Carolina has warmer beaches, palm trees, the lake life is huge with a lower cost of living, which I will go over. Toward the end here, we're going to talk about Lake Murray versus Lake Norman, which a lot of people were curious about what the differences are because they're the biggest lakes pretty much in North Carolina and South Carolina when you're talking about things. Now, at North Carolina, you get the mountains and you get the coast. I've got some honorable mentions toward the end, and one of those is beaches. I will go over that in number 7, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But and the weather we will talk about also, because South Carolina is more humid, but it's got fewer winter days. North Carolina has more seasons, has the mountains. I'm going to give lifestyle and outdoor vibe because you're talking about everything that you can do from the rivers. Go look at the outdoor. Even though you have the mountains in North Carolina, you can do more in South Carolina. So I'm handing that one to South Carolina as well. Schools and family life. Now, North Carolina schools, if you're looking at districts, Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina area, their districts are higher for the national average with niche.com, and they have better schools. In South Carolina and North Carolina, when you're talking about schools, you have to take it down not just to the school districts. I was talking about to one of my clients coming down from DC, and I'm helping them find a house within the next year. They're coming down from Fort Jackson. You've got to break it down to the schools. He's got elementary type kids. I can give you everything if it's sports in the high schools, but go look it up. Call the school districts. Look at the crime in the area, where you're at, and look at the individual schools, not just the school districts. But if you're comparing school to school, North Carolina, or district to district, North Carolina actually has, they would win that and that. But family life, I'd give it to South Carolina. Again, North Carolina's got that more urbanized feel. So with South Carolina, you've got a little slower pace. The neighborhoods are more walkable. It's that sweet southern charm. You get that some in North Carolina, but you get that sweet tea, southern comfort, chilling out in the evenings. You get all that more so in South Carolina. That family community, especially the newer neighborhoods, have all community pools. They have, even though you're paying HOAs, people don't mind because they go with their neighbors and their best friends to the pools themselves, and they love the atmosphere that you're looking for in those neighborhoods here. So family life, I give schools to North Carolina, I give family life to South Carolina. I'm going to give that one a tie. Number 5, we're going to compare, I'm going to break it down to my city. Now I can say Columbia, South Carolina, versus Charlotte, North Carolina. Cost of living, Columbia is going to be lower, Charlotte higher. More manageable, the cost of living here in Columbia, whereas as far as traffic, it's more manageable, but you also have to have a car. Whereas the traffic in Charlotte, it's more public transportation, but it's also much more congested. And if you do have a car, you're going to be in line waiting even more so in that traffic. Everybody talks about traffic in certain parts of South Carolina. It's not that big a deal when you start comparing it nationally to places. Career market, you've got in South Carolina, you've got government, health, the University of South Carolina, all of that versus banking, tech, all of that. Faster pace of living in Charlotte, of course, slower living here in Columbia. Again, as to what your job is. Housing, more affordable, growing suburbs here in Columbia, South Carolina. They're very pricey, competitive suburbs and neighborhoods more in Charlotte. Charlotte is a career rocket, but Columbia gives you space, savings, and a slower pace without giving up access to culture and growth. And I love it that with Columbia too, you're right in the middle of the state, so you've got access to so much more, which is coming up as well. Number 6, we talked about Lake Murray versus Lake Norman. Okay, Lake Murray is bigger, 50,000 acres. I mean, it's huge, and it's fed by the Saluda. It's cooler waters because it's coming from the Saluda. Lake Norman's 32,000 acres. So it's a little more compact, but still 32,000 acres is a lot. And it also is more populated and more crowded. I mean, even Michael Jordan has a place on Lake Norman. Now, that's not where he stores his fishing boat. I mean, he's even been up toward Moorhead and toward the beach there doing fishing. Yacht pretty much stays more in Florida. But he does have a house on Lake Norman. Of course, he may have a house with his money in every state in the United States. There's no telling. So I don't know if that's a good or bad battle. But I can tell you now, he probably does not have something on Lake Murray. Lake Murray is less crowded. Lake Norman is more popular and a lot more crowded. The cost, again, lakefront homes, you might average $1 million here on Lake Murray, whereas you're going to go all the way up from $1 million might be your bottom line with Lake Norman. It's very expensive lakefront, and you may go all the way up to as much as $10 million. The vibe in Lake Murray, it is again more family, laid back, local life. You can get out to Sandy Beach and just have a great time with not running into huge amounts of crowds. You can go anchor down at Baum Island and just watch the purple martins come in. There's nothing better. It's so nice. In Lake Norman, it's high-end, upscale, and very active boating in what you're doing. Lake Murray gives you more value and more land, whereas Lake Norman is more prestige. It comes with that tag. I have more, this is living at its finest, and it has more yacht clubs and very high-end development on Lake Norman. But for me, I'll take Lake Murray every single time. Southern living, less traffic, and I can pretty much do what I want. And there's some great fishing in Lake Murray also, whereas Lake Norman, again, it's more congested, just that higher traffic, but you still have a good time. And there are parts of the lake at Lake Norman that people go. Number 7, beaches and outdoor life. South Carolina beaches, warmer waters, more accessible, less crowded. North Carolina beaches, they're beautiful, but they tend to be a little more remote, such as, like I say, Wilmington and the Outer Banks. It takes a little more to get to them. They're gorgeous beaches. I mean, you see them in movies and stuff, but even on Outer Banks, the show that's on Netflix that everybody loves, it's shown in the Outer Banks, but where do they film it? In Charleston, South Carolina. It's just to get all the equipment, everything else in, it's not near as remote. Now, some people may want that remote more so. You're looking, we have more beaches as well when it comes to the bigger beaches, Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, Isle of Palms down in Charleston, Folly Beach, all the way to the less populated ones in Edisto, even Hunting Island State Park up there too. That many things, at places that you can go camping that are just as pretty as well. Weather. Number 8, hot and humid in South Carolina. I am not gonna lie. It's just as hot in North Carolina, but the humidity isn't near as much when it comes to North Carolina. You tend to, because North Carolina is in the mountains, you have more evenly spaced out seasons. Columbia, we have a good fall, but we have less winter. If you want even more mild winter, the difference in average temperatures are anywhere from 5 to 6 degrees. That difference in the lows in North Carolina are below freezing versus in South Carolina that are not even. It's a lot easier in 36-degree weather than it is 30-degree weather because one's freezing, one's not. And they'll get more snow up in North Carolina as well. But again, the mountains, during that heat and with that humidity, you don't get near as much in North Carolina. Here in South Carolina, we have foothills. They are not true mountains. If I go on vacation, go to an Airbnb, and I want to go to the mountains, most likely I'm going all the way to North Carolina to do some things. I'm not going to the mountains of South Carolina or the foothills of South Carolina. I go there to train a lot of times. If I go to the mountains, I'm going to North Carolina or higher. And if I'm going skiing, I'm going all the way up to Virginia. Versus unless I go skiing out west. Number 9, transportation and infrastructure. North Carolina is going to get this because they have more interstates, more airports, more internationally known airports, public transportation in the city. Anywhere in South Carolina, you're going to have a car to get around. We do not have a humongous amount of public transportation. Now, there are some things that people are talking about that are speed trains that may be coming. There are plans from South Carolina to Charlotte, South Carolina to Atlanta, that you can get there in hours and you don't have to deal with transportation in that. And even South Carolina to other major places around as well. A little bit of that here and there, but most of that is going to be in Charlotte or North Carolina. North Carolina definitely gets it when it comes to that infrastructure and all. Basically, who wins? Well, if you want more affordability, tax perks, and relaxed Southern living, South Carolina is your best bet. If you're chasing career growth, school systems, urban amenities, that faster, fast-paced lifestyle that urban living's all about, to where you can even have almost some big city life in the South or the Southeast, North Carolina is your bet, and it edges ahead. Can you have both? Well, again, there's a place here in South Carolina called Fort Mill. Fort Mill is right there near the North Carolina-South Carolina line, the state line. A lot of people will live in, say, Fort Mill, and they will work in Charlotte, have that Charlotte lifestyle, yet they have a more relaxed Southern living here, and the tax breaks in South Carolina to live in Fort Mill. Again, I'm referencing Columbia. It's a lot easier a lot of times. I could be in Charlotte from here at my house at Irma in an hour and a half time. And if you're on the Blythewood side, Northeast Columbia side, it's an hour time. Each season, I have Carowinds, which is an amusement park, water park, huge water park right in North Carolina. It's almost on the North Carolina-South Carolina state line. Matter of fact, there's a place that crosses over inside the park where you can step on one side North Carolina, one side South Carolina. I have season tickets all the time, and it's only an hour and a half drive for me. You can have the best of both worlds, even living in central South Carolina too. The real win is choosing the life that you want, and then finding the town that gives that to you without compromise. That's what I help buyers do every single day. So you got questions about where to land in the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina, let's talk. I help folks just like you navigate the move and find not just a house, but a home. And I know plenty of agents in North Carolina as well that are good and that will not. I tell people a lot of times 50% of the agents are great out there, 50% are not that great. I can easily help you, since I'm licensed in South Carolina, not North Carolina, I can find you someone that will treat you right and do you right, even in North Carolina, that is your choice as where to live. Shoot me a message, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you can be the first to know about it every time I put information like this out. Let me know what you think of this information. Which do you like best, North Carolina, South Carolina? Let me know from an unbiased perspective in you looking up information. So until the next video,